Hey everybody, welcome to our 9 live stream, the first one of this year. Today is our small business spotlight live stream today, and we have Miss Margurette Awad here today. Welcome back, Margurette. She was here a few months ago now. Wow, time flies.
Yeah.
But she's a social media guru, I will say, and she's awesome. And Margurette, do you want to do a quick intro to tell people about you who have not watched the last one and need to catch up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Margurette. I've been in the DC area for about 13 years. Been in marketing just about as long. And I do everything from your social media to your funnel work to your strategy. I would say I don't like social media from a professional side. Like I would not love to do it, but I love to be a part of it from the personal side. But I love to bring what I've learned to companies to help them improve their social media tactics. I see social media as one part of the equation and not the be all and end all of your entire strategy. So I'm actually very much like, yes, great that you're doing social media, but are you doing all this other stuff too? So when I talk about marketing, it is one piece of the puzzle.
That's awesome. I love that perspective because also, even within social media, there are different pieces of the puzzle, right? They're different pieces of the pie. And, there's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn, there's all these different medias out there. And so, you and I talked briefly a little bit, but talking about this, before we jump into that, I do want to acknowledge yesterday and the craziness that happened. And for those who are experiencing, if you are stressing out about things, if you're worried, if you're afraid, please do seek help. Reach out to folks in your network. Please do, understand that these kind of things, they're insane and they're not normal. If you just moved to DC, this is not how DC is normally, I promise. If you live in DC for a long time, you know that, but please do understand that, it's a crazy world right now and things are moving in the right direction, I think, slowly but surely, and hopefully, will be resolved very quickly.
And I'll add, if you are doom scrolling, please stop or please find a more mental health friendly platform. And that's when I plug TikTok.
Exactly. And speaking of doom scrolling, Facebook and Twitter are notorious for those things. But we talked a little bit about the audiences of those platforms. And do you want to talk a little bit about the differences between those audiences, depending on what platform you're on?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yes, you have your generational audience where now typically the older generations, your Gen Xers are going to be on Facebook, and then Twitter is it's a mix, and then TikTok is notorious for your Gen Z with millennial creeping over, and millennial basically expanding across all of them. Every millennial likes to say that, we gave you social media, like it's because of the millennials that it's as big as it is. So but the type of community that's there is a lot about the type of community that you build. Facebook is very based on who you know and who you choose to follow. Twitter is a little bit of the same, but their algorithm pushes in other people that you might follow or somebody might like a tweet enough to get into your feed. And TikTok's algorithm is probably my favorite. It is because they have their FYP page, For You page, and it is everything. It is everything you don't know that you're interested in. It's almost creepy how good the algorithm is. You can like, you can comment, and it'll dump you into these smaller communities where you feel accepted, or you're like, oh yeah, you know what? Maybe I am interested in vegan cooking, and just things without it being an overwhelming experience. Facebook and Twitter, I would say, are notorious for the doom scrolling just based on the way that the news outlets are very active there. I wouldn't say they're as active on TikTok in a similar way. So it really comes down to the type of user that is on each community or on each platform.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And, as you're thinking about those things, as you're talking about, the doom scrolling and the differences in how people process information as they're getting it. TikTok sounds like it's been really, really different. Like I mean, you mentioned there's a lot of communities there, and, you mentioned the word community, and people use that word so loosely in terms of Facebook and whatnot. And, I honestly, in terms of community, like actual communities that are supportive of each other, there are a few communities that I'm part of on Facebook that are like that, but it sounds like there's a lot more of those on TikTok.
Yeah, so let me go back a little bit. So TikTok reminds me of what the internet used to be like in 2007 and 2008. And if you were super active on the internet at that time, that meant that you were probably blogging, that you were probably one of the very first users of Facebook, and you were just interacting with your friends. But I particularly want to hone in on the blogging part. The blogging community was very supportive. It was all about making friends, online friends, and finding out what they were interested in. You became invested in their lives and what was going on. Blogging wasn't about making money. It wasn't about, DIY and ads. So that is what the TikTok community currently reminds me of. There are other examples of these smaller communities popping up, particularly Slack communities, where this happens, and you get invited in, and it's very close knit, and it's purposely built to be close knit. So it is not that vast onslaught of social media, so you don't feel overwhelmed. On TikTok itself, just based on the way the algorithm works and the way that people engage, and they're so positive there. I say that with an asterisk that you can't see. It's really been it's a very wholesome experience on TikTok. My asterisk is there is going to be the negative comments, like the overly sexualized stuff anywhere you go, because that is the internet, that is that world. But for the most part, I probably admittedly spend 1 to 2 hours on TikTok a day, just scrolling, just consuming content, just engaging with the communities that are there. And for the most part, I'm going to say 90% of what I consume is very positive and is very supportive. And a lot of people have been able to share their journeys, their emotional journeys, their anything else that has been going on in their lives, and have received support from other people there, whether you're actually friends with them or not. And that is what I really love to see. They're like, oh, here, King, you dropped your crown. And then, they're just so, I don't know what the word is. It's like they're definitely giving you the affirmations that people seek from the social interactions that are happening.
Interesting. No, it sounds very really engaging. I mean, because when I think of TikTok, just to preface this, I'm not a TikTok user. Honestly, I'm not even a consumer. I always think about doing it, and I probably have been on there maybe 3 times in the last year at all. But it's always seems to be kind of I love the dog stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love the dog videos. They're adorable. But other than that, it's it's like a dancing video, so this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really in the mood to watch this right now. I don't really care. This is not really appealing to me. But again, the dog stuff is just awesome. It's phenomenal. And then I click on the dog stuff. I remember seeing a vet thing, the very next thing. It's actually, like you mentioned, the algorithm is really awesome. But for those people who are not looking to consume dancing stuff, tell us more about what is actually TikTok. It's much more dancing than what you talk about.
Okay. So much more. So yes, your top influencers are known to do the dancing. There was the savage dance that everyone does. Yes, people do that 100%. You will probably see it. But I'm going to tell you about a user. I'm blanking on his username, but there is a Gen Zer. He will literally tell you how tall you are, within the smallest amount of measurement, how tall you are based on an image, based on the size of your hand, based on the proximity to this candle. He'll be like, oh, well, the average size candle is this, using math. They are so clever. There's everything across the board. There's Tabitha Brown with the vegan cooking, and she's like, that's your business. And she's so wholesome. There's a lot of cooking, which is great. There's lumberjack TikTok, where guys just go out and they chop wood, and it's not meant to be sexual. It's just meant to have an aesthetic. There is, I was just what else did I mention to you? I'm totally blank. Oh, there's cat TikTok, which is my favorite. Very wholesome. There's music TikTok. People go hard. And one of my favorite threads of 2020 is, about why TikTok is the best place to find your next musical collaborations, because people will duet with each other. And the talent that is there, I am blown away, honestly, every day. I was Gen Z, there must have been something in the water when all of them came around, because I was I don't even have that level of creative thought to get there to be you know what, I'm going to make this type of video. And it's wild what they come up with. So if you are looking for creativity, if you are looking for that next amazing idea or person to collaborate with, go there. Just don't start with the influencers, just start scrolling, and you're going to be dumped into an amazing experience.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome. And so for folks who are, coming at this from a business perspective and who are looking for, how do I use TikTok for my business, versus as a consumer, because obviously those are different markets, those are different different goals in mind when you go there.
Yeah.
But for a business looking to use TikTok, what are some ways businesses can use TikTok who don't necessarily know, what it is?
So my first question to any business is, do you really need to be on TikTok as like a voice?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you need to be contributing to the conversation that's there? If for product purposes, the answer is yes, then as is true with any platform, be authentic. Hire someone that is young and creative and just let them go wild. Don't give them restrictions, because if you try to stay inside a line or say, hey, copy this person, it's not going to work. Now, if you are a business that wants to understand the next generation that is coming into buying power, I tell you to consume it as much as you can, looking at how they talk to each other and then how they engage with each other, like through the comments. Are they leaving comments? Are they sharing the videos? The language semantics that are on TikTok are what I take from it, and that I apply to clients who have Gen Z as their primary audience. It's probably the best takeaway that I get from it, even though, like, yes, I love the cat videos, but the way that they talk, I mean, the phrase of 2020 was like CEO of insert, like CEO of dancing, CEO of pizza, CEO of like whatever. That was a popular TikTok phrase. And what that does is it takes the generation that is more common to be on TikTok, or the users that are on TikTok, when they see that language on your product description, in your ad copy, they're going to make the mental connection. Oh, this is for me, because they're using my language. So it's not, don't insert it just to insert it and be a part of a trend, but genuinely incorporate it into what you're doing, into the types of conversations you're having, and into what you're selling if you want to reach, that buying power.
That's awesome. I love what you said about being authentic, because a lot of businesses kind of like tend to just jump into and like, oh, I need to be there. I need to be here. I need to be here. And I just literally answered a question this morning about that, where someone's asking, oh, how do I get on social media? Like I haven't been on social media at all. How do I get on all of the platforms at once? And I'm like, let's take a step back. Let's pause for a second. Do you need to be on all these platforms? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish by being on these platforms? Like,
Yeah.
Are you planning on being active on LinkedIn? Are you planning on being active on Twitter or active on Facebook? If you're not planning on being active on any of them, then why be on them? Why even bother?
100%. And I'm just going to add on to that two things. One, if you are already active on social media, look at your Google Analytics. Are you actually getting traffic from those platforms to your website? If you're not, then ask yourself, why are you putting in the time? If you're not and you still want to be on those platforms, or if you're new, think about why you want to be on there. Are you doing it for product sales? Are you doing it for thought leadership? Are you doing it more from a personal perspective of you just enjoy it? I mean, my TikTok and Instagram is purely, it's just because I enjoy it. Like I comment a lot in communities, but I don't post a lot. And that I just assume like that's my role, and I'm happy there. I don't need to be a creator because there are so many other creative people.
So you don't want to get Anaconda on there anywhere?
I mean, she is on TikTok. She is on Instagram. She has her own little hashtag on Instagram, but she's not famous. She's happy living the quiet life. She's currently asleep on the couch. So,
Nice. Hachi's passed out as well, so that's how it works out. No, but that's important, extremely, extremely important. I mean, you have to look at the ROI on these kind of things. Anything you're spending money on as a business, look at your ROI. And I put an asterisk on that, the copy your asterisk thing up here, because it is important to think about this right now, given the pandemic, everything going on in the world right now. People are not necessarily spending money at the moment. Some of them are, but they're still consuming content. They're still consuming a crap ton. And if anything, they're consuming more than they would be otherwise, because they're at home all the time, right? They're on the computers, they're on their phones, they're always there. So looking back at the example I always give, which is P&G during the 20s, they doubled down on their ad budget. They doubled down on their marketing budget. And I'm not saying double your marketing budget, but I'm saying invest smart and maybe take away from some of the print ads you may be doing and focus on some social media stuff that build awareness up, build your brand up, so that when people are done, when this thing blows over eventually, people will start spending money again, and they'll remember your brand. They'll remember you as someone that they can go to for these kind of things. Hire someone like Margurette, who knows what the heck they're doing and knows how to actually create a strategy around marketing, around social media, but making social media not just the focus, but like a piece of your entire pie. If you're just investing in social media and nothing else, you're probably missing, I don't know, 80%. You tell me, Margurette.
I mean, yeah. So I was really focused on your comment around awareness. People depend. So there is such a thing as a customer journey, and I always, when people are like, "How do you know?" I'd be like, "Well, you tell me. Like, when was the last time you made a decision about something, and then how long did it take you to get there?" And usually, the average is that a person has to engage with a brand 7 times to get there. So. As a perfect example of that for myself, who is like has lowered my spending habits significantly during the pandemic, is I actually have been saving things. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to save for this properly and I'm going to budget it in. So I save it and then I wait to engage a couple more times. And you move from awareness to conversion, and conversion is the purchase. So you have to, and as I'm going to plug Sage Harper here of Apollo Marketing, you have to have that know, like, and trust of the product and of the company. So while they're consistently seeing your product, while they're building the awareness, they are coming to like it. They're seeing the social proof of it, and they're making that decision. Okay, when I actually have the money again, do I want to make this purchase? So yes, like while we're here, keep building the awareness until people are able to, put back in the buying power. I
love you.
also go ahead.
I love to plug Sage because that's the next person I was going to mention was Sage Harper. I mean, if you guys are looking for someone to help create a strategy for you, Margurette's awesome. Sage is also a great compliment to Margurette because Sage has something called the one-page marketing plan, which I'm going to have Sage talk about at some point in the future on this very live stream. But reach out to him. We'll put his information below as well as Margurette's. But what were you going to say, Margurette?
Oh, I was going to say before our call, I looked up like spending and ad spend behaviors on TikTok, and one of the latest reports came out, which this is like crazy high to me. But on average, brands were spending at minimum $50 a day to put their product in front of people. And now, if you're a big business, that may not seem like a lot, but if you're a small business, that's significant. And then. Yep. Things like takeovers and then promoting hashtags, the minimum for a takeover was $20,000. And then to promote a hashtag, like a hashtag challenge on TikTok, it was $100,000. And I know, yes, there are brands that have that and they can do that. So, but if we're talking to small businesses, you don't have that. So go in with a more authentic approach, go in looking at the community, decide if it's where you want to be. But also to your previous point, put your money where your users are and build that know, like, and trust and build the awareness.
Absolutely. And there's something to be said about growing a brand organically. One of my really good friends, she just started her Instagram about maybe 3 months ago. Boozy Foodie, for those of you who have not seen her, she's on Instagram. She's awesome. Really good friend of mine. Fantastic person. But she just started a few months ago and she already has 2,000 followers. It was all organic. She didn't pay for advertising. She didn't pay for anything. She was just authentic and posted food she loves because she loves food. She loves wine. She loves drinking. And hey, why not? Boozy Foodie, done. I'm surprised it was available, but it's awesome. But she did it and she got to 2,000 followers already and she's still building and it's amazing. But there's something to be said about growing organically. For small businesses especially, don't be in a rush is the other thing I would say. Just be patient. I mean, it takes time. To Margurette's point, there's awareness and then there's conversion. Conversion may be delayed now more than it normally is. That's okay. It's not amazing. It does kind of suck, but at a certain point, when people start spending again, if they remember your brand before they remember the next person's, you've won. You've won that battle. So Margurette, just quickly if you want to tell us quickly what a takeover is for those of us who are less versed in the social media verbiage.
So takeover, so on TikTok specifically, what that looks like is you're scrolling on your FYP or For You page. You're like, da, 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 da. Usually when you open the app, which is very clever of TikTok to deliver you an ad immediately as you jump in. It is just a full-blown ad. They say it's an ad. You have the option to skip after a couple seconds usually. It is fully branded. In Facebook and Instagram, that also means that it's fully branded. On a website, it's a little bit more obvious. So what that means is, if you visit a homepage and say it's like the opening of a movie day, you'll see banner ads. You'll see like a giant banner on it. You'll see one down the side. All the content will be themed to that. Social media is usually just like they do a massive plug for a day. So Instagram, that'll probably show up in stories, as well as posts, and everything going out for that day will have a bespoke look and feel, and it'll have a hashtag and usually an account associated with it.
Gotcha. So for those of you who didn't know what that was, that's what a takeover is. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's like pretty much a takeover of the whole thing, but just to make it clear what to expect when that happens. It's not a hostile takeover, just a takeover.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so Margurette, for any closing thoughts before we end? Then last year it's been about 20 minutes, but we want to give you a chance to let people know of anything that they need to know that we might not have covered so far yet.
I think really it's, if you've been afraid of TikTok, just download it, just start scrolling, just check it out. Obviously through the pandemic last year, the big joke was that all the millennials migrated from Instagram to TikTok, and they did. And there is a significant millennial presence. And so you're not going to feel old. So definitely don't feel old. I just look at it as like, wow, this Gen Z, cohort is so creative, and it's just so mind blowing. And honestly, look at it from a community perspective of like, okay, if I know this about the next spending power, the Gen Z community, how can that be applied to my product? Is it actually relevant? If it's not, then don't bother on TikTok. Go to where your audience is. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's no need to start out on a new platform if you don't need to be there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Margurette. And for those of you watching, please just, if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I should have said that earlier, but it's the first meeting of the year, but that's cool. But if you guys haven't been able to tune in live, and you guys have been watching this after the fact, please feel free to comment on the video below. If you have questions, we'll be happy to answer them after the fact. We'll throw Margurette's information in the chat, in the description below, as well as Sage Harper, who's a great person to reach out to for websites and for other marketing complementary to Margurette. But if you have questions, comments, observations, things you want to see in future videos, future topics, questions for Margurette, reach out, comment below, let us know. Margurette, how do people get in touch with you?
So I am on Twitter. I am on TikTok. I'm more active on Twitter, and it's at Mags Awad. So I think it's in the bottom of this screen. You can also find me there on Instagram, but it's going to be a lot of cat pics on Instagram. So more marketing stuff is on Twitter. So that's where I would say, but actually follow me on TikTok if you want me to just send you great videos. If you tell me what you're looking for, I seem to find them a lot. I was telling Drew that I probably spend 1 to 2 hours a day. So it's a lot, but I love it. So yeah, just follow me everywhere and tell me what type of content you're looking for or questions, and I'm happy to answer it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Margurette. Everyone, thank you again so much. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe. If you want to get notified of future videos, hit that bell, and leave a comment below. And I hope to see you guys next time. We'll be doing these every week, and we'll be doing our chat with coaches every other week, and then other stuff every week as well. So we'll see you guys soon. Take care, be safe, and Happy New Year.
Yep.